Cover this first, then I'm getting into the economy with the Madoff suicide, Arkansas, big military developments around the world, the Russians shipping 1,800 anti-aircraft high-tech missiles to Venezuela. We've got India protesting U.S. frisking of top diplomats. I mean, people just won't come here. Other people haven't been drinking fluoride and watching 10 hours of TV a day. And, you know, having uranium put in their drinking water, as the government admits they do, to sterilize the population. And they go, you're going to stick your hands under my blouse? You're going to stick your hand in my pants? You're going to frisk pilots who are trusted to fly the plane? No, I'm not coming to your country. We're like, but Nazi Germany's good. We love the army on the streets. And people are like, well, that's like Guatemala. Or that's like Nigeria or Indonesia during a coup or something. We don't want to go there. That's scary. It's land of the free, man. You don't like it? We got face scanning cameras. We got red light cameras. We got transponders. We got license plate readers. But our borders are wide open, too. The government's trying to fight the drugs when they're not caught shipping them in. I'm sorry. It's just so painful to watch this country being sucked into a black hole of oblivion. But I wanted to get to this first because we've talked about Anwar al-Awlaki being the admitted CIA operative, hanging out at the Pentagon, the #1 active operative of al-Qaeda. He's behind the underwear. He's behind the shoe bomber. He's behind the Christmas Day guy that we already mentioned. He's behind the Fort Hood. He's now reportedly might be behind the latest patsy. And what's happening is the government has open immigration for people from Somalia, people from Sudan, people from all of these countries that are known to have basically the equivalent of Muslim hillbillies, who really do want to kill the great Satan. They don't understand the great Satan is the banking cartel that runs our nation and use it as its own front. But their own countries are run by their own mini-Satans, you know, with their corrupt mullahs and people who are all about Allah and being pious, but then have their own sex slaves, back at the palace. I mean, the corruption of the Muslim states is legendary. Of course, the corruption of every country is legendary. That's the fallen nature of man. But they bring these people in. They protect them. And before I get into the Stockholm blast here, before I cover that, I just realized there's a type of a pun here. Or not even so much of a pun. We have Stockholm Syndrome with our abusive government. That's where people that are kidnapped or abused end up loving and admiring and worshiping their abusers. Some weak-minded people have a, survival mechanism. It's particularly found in women. Not that women are bad or weak, but physically weaker. So it's a way to kind of grovel and, sell your abusers on being nice to you. But that won't work with this military-industrial complex. It's like in Goldfinger. Do you expect me to talk? No, Mr. Bond, I expect you to die. They don't want us to just be slaves. Life isn't just cheap. We're seen as garbage, and the globalists want to take out the garbage. They want to get rid of us. So police probe Stockholm blast as act of terrorism. Bomber believed to be foreign sports student. A Muslim foreign student with some type of scholarship blew themselves up in a car. And they believe the bomb detonated before they got to where they wanted to go. And that's about right. I mean, if you're going to find a real terrorist to attack, it's going to be badly coordinated. It's going to be idiotic. It's going to be mindless. It's going to be low intensity, asymmetrical. So Al-Qaeda, the best Al-Qaeda can do, goes from devastating attacks, NORAD standing down, aircraft from hundreds and hundreds of miles away with their transponders off, by line of sight, know how to fly into a major city and T-bone a tiny target comparatively, not once but twice. And all these top pilots on record go, I couldn't do that. But these guys who've never flown a big plane and that couldn't even get a Cessna off the ground, the flight school in Florida said, Muhammad Atta just threw a fit and couldn't even get the plane off the ground. lied about his credentials just months before. Magically, they could do it. So, again, if you believe in the tooth fairy and things like that, you buy into it. But they go from these incredible attacks, but not just incredible attacks, incredible passports. Everything is magic in the official story to believe it. I mean, you know, Rumpelstiltskin level fairy tale. Emperor has no clothes. You know, the passport, not one but two, come out of their clothes, through the fireball, unscathed, fall in the dust, and not one but two were found by the FBI that day, and all that chaos and several feet of dust and millions of pieces of paper flying around. Magically, they find them. But again, official story. I'm sure the government wouldn't lie to us. They care about us. You know, there's all those videos on the news of get back, they're going to blow up Building 7, but let's just ignore that. Or the molten steel, the firefighters talking about bombs, or Barry Jennings, the deputy head of emergency management in New York, talking about it, but oh, he died right after he spoke out. That was convenient. But let's just ignore all of that, of course. They go from these incredibly high-tech, James Bond couldn't carry this out. I mean, this is incredible. Can't get Cessnas off the ground, but they can do this. To now, they can't light their shoes on fire. Anybody who has a brain knows plastic explosive doesn't light. It does not detonate. You can throw plastic explosive in a fire, and it would not blow up. It's designed to be safely used and triggered by electricity. But, hey, this bomber, somebody gives him plastic explosive, he tries to light it. Turns out the government gives it to him, helps him get on the plane. Same thing with the underwear bomber. He's led on the plane, protected, all admitted. State Department admits it, put on the plane. We've already covered that. Fort Hood guy for 2 years is talking to Anwar al-Awlaki. Turns out the government blocks any investigations, knows what he's about to do, lets him do it. So I'm not denying there aren't some lunatic Muslim extremists, but do I give up all my liberty and all my freedom and have Homeland Security take over my society because some idiot, Laurel and Hardy, might blow something up and kill somebody? When cars kill almost 400,000 a year? When prescription drugs are killing hundreds of thousands a year? When lightning's killing hundreds and hundreds a year? When bee stings are killing over 100 a year? Do I crawl under my table because there might be a bumblebee flying around outside? Do I need TSA men in uniforms with special guns to kill bumblebees because somebody might get stung and die? I mean, think about it, folks. It's asinine. The media, even if you don't believe it's an inside job, they sit there and throw it in your face. Scary Muslim, scary turban, scary man with beard. He gets you. Meanwhile, the government just, oh, you're a foreigner? Oh, you're a Muslim? Come on in. So they can play us all off against each other. And it goes on and on and on. And in every single case, it turns out the government is building the bombs, training them, going out and finding them. And these people always have very low IQs. In many cases, they're borderline retarded. In the case of the 93 World Trade Center bomb, where they recruited them, created it, cooked the bomb, put the detonator in it, their informant said, okay, let's bust them. And they said, the bombing goes forward. So Ahmad Salam recorded the FBI, and that's why he didn't go to prison. It's the same story over and over again. I can't tell you how many times I've had cops come up in plain clothes and go, you want to do something violent? We ought to blow something up, Alex. And I'm just like, come on, cop. I don't work for your narcotics trafficking government. Oh, that's another issue. I'm going to get into that later. The CBC was here Friday, and they said, man, the Austin police don't like you. This was a really professional, nice news guy with them. Seasoned, older, middle-aged fella. And I think I got his card right over here. Really nice guy. But the point is that I said, well, what did the Austin police say about me? And I said, why were you talking to the Austin police? I'll just tell the story now and then get back into the stage bombings. And he goes, well, we've got to get a permit to shoot. And I said, even in my studio? And he said, yes. See, that's the new, not even law, it's just color of law that's being created where the big corporations order their employees and their contractors to go get a permit. And the city of Austin has a regulation to shoot anywhere in the city limits. You got to pay the city of Austin money, and the police kind of, we don't know if we'll issue this permit for you to be able to talk to Alex in Austin. I mean, folks, the freedom's all gone. They just know it'll be challenged in court, so the Austin police went, okay, we'll issue the permit for you to go to Alex's office and interview him. And then the corporation teamed up, MSNBC, Fox, they all do it, teamed up with these people. They go and get permits every time So it's creating a precedent. So that's why I can be anywhere in the country. Up in Kansas City, Aaron and Jacobson were at a World War II memorial a half mile from the Federal Reserve at a city park, videotaping it, and a car pulls up with on-duty federal security guards with guns. And they said, you don't videotape our building. You don't have a permit. And they said, leave now. And they had their hands on their guns, the video's on the web, or you're going to jail. They went, try me. That's what America is. Just people in black uniforms walking up and saying, look, you don't have freedom. And the sticking the hands down the pants is meant to train us. But then I went further. I said, what'd they say? And the guy was, this is after the interview, he goes, I don't want to get into it, but man, you got a scary job. And I was like, what? I mean, that's what America is a creepy Austin Police Department, a bunch of commissars who, well, we don't know if we're going to give you a permit to interview Alex Jones. Oh, where's the free association? Where is any of it? And the guy said, no, our company makes us get it. And you ought to see New York, he went on. Sometimes they just deny it. Then we have to have someone leave the city to, interview him, basically. I mean, this is what we've turned into. This is what we are. It's pathetic. We've got to ask permission to the government. Government, can I get a permit to wipe my nose or tie my shoelaces? And the government, imagine the APD. You're going to interview Alex Jones? Oh, he's bad. I mean, in America, the police are between me and a TV station. It's so creepy.
I hurt myself
to know that police all over the U.S. are arresting people who videotape them in public, but the government's got face scanning cameras, license plate reading cameras, CIA in every major city, completely illegal, tracking everyone's credit card purchases in real time and admitting it. And that Threat Fusion Center FEMA camp special Ventura did, he interviewed the head of the Colorado Fusion Center, one of the most important in the country, and he admitted they track everything in real time. It's totally illegal. But then we go to the police department. Are we allowed CBC to come and talk to Alex? Yes. Here's your $50 for your permit. I mean, and I watch these libertarian groups in Austin go get permits for demonstrations. I don't. And the cops show up and say, you got to have a permit. And I go, only if I'm blocking a road. See, that's how this started over 100 years ago. They would want to have parades to shut down major roads. Of course you got to get a permit for that. The cops got to come out, and they've got to run security on it and block the highway. But see, they take something like that and expand it out to everything. But, I know there are a lot of nice Austin cops where I live. I've run into them. I've talked to them. A lot of them are listeners. But, man, it's so creepy to know that the police are so bold that whoever's in that permitting department would talk trash about yours truly to an international media outlet that's producing the show, not just for Canadian TV, but British and U.S. television. I mean, the reporter was shocked and wouldn't tell me everything they said. Man, how creepy. How creepy. This country is in a lot of trouble. Hey, cops, you think your bank account's safe? You think your kid's future's safe? You think the economy's safe? When you're allowed to act and behave like that, you've been given all this illegitimate power because we got crooks running this country. Grow up. Man, I just can't believe it. Cops, I want you to have all your liberty and freedom. I want this to be a free country. But you're on power trips, and you know it. So I'm not afraid of whatever you do to me. I just want that to be on record. It's the sins you're going to commit. It's on you. It's on you, but that is creepy. And you don't care. A lot of you are just worldly fools who don't understand, and you will understand, though. Let me get back into this. Swedish military had prior knowledge of suicide blast. Before I get into this, let's play Geraldo Rivera, who's now come out and said he's looking at 9/11 being an inside job. Judge Andrew Napolitano's come out and said that there's no way the official story is true. Man, I tell you, this is courage. And on Fox News, of all places. And George Soros's Media Matters got real angry.